Hello, I am the narrator, and before this episode begins, Maddie will be talking about Whoville in the movie How the Grinch Stole Christmas. Now, there are in fact spoilers, and there may in fact be something you haven't already know. With that in mind, let the show begin.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Maddie, and today we're going to be talking about Whoville from How the Grinch Stole Christmas. Now, hold on. So, I know, like, everybody who's going to be watching this knows all about the story, knows everything that happens, and there isn't a lot to know about the Whovilles, Whoville, the town, but there might be something in here that you might not have known, so stick around and see what happens. So, if you might have noticed, there are in fact two versions where the Whos live in Whoville. So there's, How the Grinch Stole Christmas, where they live on a snowflake. There's also the version where they live on a speck of dust. And then, they have the whole scenario with the elephant and everyone not hearing them. So, just for this episode, we're going to be talking about the version with the Grinch, where they live in a snowflake and everything. Now, if you've ever read the book or seen the movies, then you know that the Whos are scared of the Grinch, and they've even made a day where everyone stays indoors and the Grinch comes down and wanders around, maybe do a few pranks, because he's that mean. So in Whoville, you can tell by looking at some of the buildings that they're very odd and abstract looking, with the weird curving straight shapes and some of the colors. But since it's Christmas, it's gonna snow. So I don't know if there's always gonna be snow, or if it's there's seasons in it because they live in a snowflake. There's also some theories that the Whos did live in a speck of dust, which eventually turned into a snowflake. So, from the movie How the Grinch Stole Christmas, live action version, I think that's what it's called. But, there are three types of people that live there. There are the Grinch, which I guess is his very own species and whatever. So, he's all by himself, practically extinct. And then there are the normal size Whos that, Cindy Lou Who and her family, and, the mayor and all that people. And then there are the very tiny Whos that live in Whoville. They're really tiny. And, that's really odd, but they don't really go more into detail with that, so, yeah. Anyways, the Whos, you may notice them very easily with their iconic, crazy hairs with the braids and the weird buns, and their tiny noses. Sit tight, little boys and girls. I'm going to be reading you a story of how the Grinch stole Christmas. Ready? Here we go. Hang on, there's a hair. That's not on my head. Okay. The story of How Grinch Stole Christmas starts with Cindy Lou Who and her family getting ready for Christmas, while the Grinch runs around and messing with some of the folks, the pranks and whatnot. The next day comes, and it's time for the Whos to vote for the next person to be appreciated this Christmas. Cindy Lou Who steps up to the plate and says that the Grinch should join in with their celebration by making him the next person, to be celebrated. But the mayor hates the idea of the Grinch coming, so he lets the little girl invite him, thinking that he wouldn't come and they would choose somebody else. But he did in fact come at the very last minute, the Grinch didn't really want to be there, but he was dragged into the whole family like traditions after participating in all the activities. The Grinch finally brought chaos to the town and burned down the giant Christmas tree. So that was a chaotic night. When the big green man goes back home, he soon gets into frustration by the fact that the Whos are singing carols even after everything that he did. He couldn't even stop them. He couldn't stop making them feel happy. Then that's when he had the idea of dressing up like Santa and stealing all the Who's toys and, their food. Because that's a thing you could do. So, then days go by with the Grinch hard at work with his plan, when Cindy Lou Who was running around looking for answers about the Grinch. Who he is, where he came from, why he's this way. Yep. Night falls and comes the time where the Grinch steals Christmas, because it's Christmas Eve. At daylight, right before he throws all the toys off the edge of the cliff, he has a change of heart and comes back with all the toys and food and celebrates with the Whos that Christmas. So, thank you guys so much for watching. If you're fascinated by the Whos, there is a link in the description that goes more into detail with the information that I found. If you've enjoyed, please leave a like and subscribe. Without further ado, have a nice day and good night. This is the end of the video, end of the video, end of the video. Pew pew. End of the video, end of the video. This is the end of the video. Pew pew. Pew pew. Pew pew. End of the video, end of the video, end of the video. Oh oh.